Hello and welcome. My name is Patrick Vrabel. I work at Gilbert's Hardware and Appliance in Owosso. And today I'm doing an interview with a very special guest.
Hi, my name is Bill Gilbert. I'm one of the owners of Gilbert's Hardware and Appliance, and I've been here 60 years. And as we begin this interview, this podcast, in this sea of red, Milwaukee tools, I think of my father and how he just wouldn't have believed the selection and the quality of products that we have right now. My father's name is Chuck Gilbert. He was the founder back in 1965, and I'll take you back there a little bit.
And we're doing all of this to celebrate 60 years here in downtown Owosso, starting as a Western auto store in 1965 to where we are today. Well, first off, Bill, congratulations on 60 years in downtown Owosso. That is I think a heck of an achievement. I've only been here for about 4 years now. And
coming up on four.
And I can remember, my parents and grandparents talking about Gilbert's. How does it feel to reach this milestone?
Well, I think it's very special. The memories go back with customers, with staff, just a lot of things that we've had to work hard at to try to accomplish for our customers in the community. But, we started off moving to Owosso in 1965. My dad actually owned a service station, a Texaco service station in Lansing, and just wanted a hardware store. Looked around, but my dad knew the Van Sices. They were an old-time car dealership that had a couple locations over on Corona Avenue near the corner of Washington Street, and also across the street from the St. Paul's School. And because of that relationship, they were introduced to Owosso. One thing led to another. They came downtown and looked at the Western Auto Store, which my dad had experience naturally owning a service station. He had experience with car parts. And so even though he thought he wanted a hardware store, he ended up with a Western Auto Store, sold a lot of automotive parts and all the other stuff Western Auto offered. Back then we had a small store. It was the first 20 foot of the building here. And everything was tight. Everything was maximized out. The basement was open. We had toys, bicycles. That store was so packed. But that's how we started, as a 20-foot Western Auto Store. So just a lot of great memories from that. We stayed that size for about 7 years. And in 1972, we acquired 66 feet of buildings, including our 20, on Main Street, right in our present location. And we began an expansion project that went first to 44 feet, and then the very next year in 73 to 66 feet wide.
You hinted on it a little bit, but what do you really remember most about the early days of running the store?
Well, in the 1960s, the only, let's say, competition outside the city limits, there was a Yankees discount store out on North M52. This was before Kmart. This was before, of course, the Walmarts, the Home Depots, all of the home improvement. It was just us, and we had a store that was very similar to Western Auto called Gamble's, and they were across the street from us. And there were just a lot of activity in the downtown. The downtown had shoe stores, clothing goods stores, sporting goods stores, department stores, just had a wide variety of everything. And it was a hub. Let's call it a hub of business. And what was really fun was just the customers, the interaction, and knowing that if we took care of our customers, we could grow the business. And my dad always wanted to do that. He always wanted to grow the business.
Mm-hmm. In the beginning, were there any challenges that you had to overcome? I mean, not just in 1965, but really like the first 10 to 20 years of the
Well,
store.
yeah, the economy really turned sour. Like after we did our first big expansion in 72 and 73, of course, we, were a small business and had to rely on external financing from banks. All of a sudden, we started having the oil embargo in the early 70s, early and mid 70s, and we started having high interest rate. And so we really had to overcome the economy. And we did this in a couple ways. Probably the biggest was we discontinued our relationship with Western Auto, and we became a True Value hardware store, which was big. At the time, just prior, there was a good old hardware store called Himberg Hardware down in Westtown. And they were the True Value dealer. And back at that time, a town would have one True Value, one Ace, one Western Auto, one Gamble's. I mean, it was always something like that. And when Himberg closed his doors, the True Value people came to us and we joined. And boy, when we went to the first of their national shows that fall, it was mind-boggling just how big, how encompassing, and how great the product selection and prices were. And just with that move alone and hard work and things like that, we were able to turn the tide in the early 80s. And that was really great. We continued to look for ways to expand, and we did it from within our departments. We started selling electronics, and oh boy, I tell you what, in the day, we sold car stereo, boom boxes, cassette recorders, clock radios, shelf systems, components, speakers, scanners. I mean, console TVs, regular TVs that were tube. I mean, we sold it all. Video games. We sold Magnavox Odyssey. We sold Intellivision. We sold Atari. I mean, everything was electronics back then. We had a big department, and it was fun.
And it was basically the entire downstairs.
It was the downstairs. Underneath the 44 feet of the basement. We expanded the basement as well as our sales area. But I remember one thing. There was another good appliance store that went out of business called Hunn's Appliance. People now know the building as the Tire Factory just across from Baker College Welcome Center. And but that used to be Hunn's Appliance, a great store, but they had Maytag. They were the Maytag dealer. And when they went out of business, the Maytag salesman came knocking on our door. And I remember having to convince my father that we needed to add appliances. And it was a hard sell. But we ended up getting a row, like a row where a fixture would go with product on both sides. We took that fixture out and we put in either 12 or 16 Maytag washers and dryers. At the time, we added ranges, a couple ranges, because they had bought out the Hardwick range line. And so we added a little bit of ranges. And that was really what Maytag sold, was laundry. And so we just started kind of in a real soft manner in the appliance business. And who would have thunk? Who would have thunk that? I think we started in 1982, maybe. Um, who would have thunk that, like 43 years later, our store would be, so dominant with appliances. But I remember it was a hard sell. But you asked about what we had to overcome. We had to overcome the economy, and we also had to really work hard together, listen to each other, because we had 4 owners at this time. I joined the company in 1976. My brother had been an owner since 74. My brother's K.C. Gilbert, and he worked all the way until he retired just a handful of years ago in 2016. And my mom and dad were owners. So my mom was like the wind beneath the wings, kind of like. She was maybe in the background a lot, but boy, I tell you what, she worked as hard as anybody. And the 4 of us really had to make decisions. We had to constantly reinvent the store and what we would offer to customers, and plus have the money to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really a balancing thing. So I very proud of what we've achieved with the help of all of our staff and, of course, the community just supporting us.
And that kind of turns into what we're doing today. We added the garden center, 2-3 years ago, and in 2021, I think we started, and kind of grand opening in 2022. We added the Scratch and Dent Center across the street. Then, of course, 2006, you opened up a DeWitt store.
We opened up a DeWitt
store in DeWitt.
Yep, we opened up a True Value store in 2006, and when we saw the opportunity to change to Do It Best in 2012, we took that opportunity, and now both stores are Do It Best hardwares, and just ironically, Do It Best has absorbed the True Value stores nationwide, and it's just kind of ironic in that regard. But we are celebrating 60 years, and I was trying to think back of 60 years and how long it is. I can tell you, this has arrived slowly and surely over the 60 years. I used to have dark hair, and things definitely have changed as you get older, and your perspectives change. You think about, I don't want to say mortality, but you see a little bit of your father and what your father was like at the end of his working career. And I'm not quite there yet. I'm working here and loving it. When I don't like getting up and coming into my store, that's probably when I'll fully retire. But I truly love it still. I have great owners that have joined me, and Patrick, a young man, Todd Sukup, that was the first one to become a partner. And then I have Patrick King, who heads up my appliance store, just does a great job. And my daughter, Kate, who is in the paint and hardware and handles that. So I've really got some talent. This young man to my left is very talented in marketing, and he just adds and brings so much. And I think that's the magic of the future of Gilbert's, is that I've got 4 future owners that really want to see things happen and want to work hard, love customers, and are good at their jobs. And I'm excited about what the future can bring.
Throughout everything that you described, what was the turning point to kind of from, whether it was stagnant growth or slight growth to kind of where we are today, or was it all really just gradual?
I would say growth was kind of gradual, definitely. until like 1980, 81. And then with True Value, we kind of took off and added volume and added selection and stock and did our growth. 1987, we ended up purchasing the rest of the block, which went down to a dress shop called Julie K, just a long standing dress shop in town. Probably started in I guess the early 50s or late 40s as a dress shop. They stayed open all the way through till like 2005. And so just a really good retailer. The owner's name was Julia Ackerman, but we bought the buildings from her. And we ended up expanding over into one of the storefronts. And then a couple more years after that, probably in the early 90s, we expanded over to the next storefront, right up to the dress shop, and it just enabled us to carry more product, offer more things for customers, and back at that time in the early 90s, another big thing happened, which is kind of like a spur for the business, because it's kind of like on the backside. But we used to have an alley, two alleys in the back of the store, and there were buildings. There was a laundromat and a welding shop, and there were just alleys behind. And the city wanted to make a parking lot so the businesses on Washington Street and Main Street could thrive. And they moved the laundromat over where the current Fitness Coliseum is. Mm. And they moved that laundromat there. I think it was called Owosso Laundromat. Anyway, they put the parking lot in. And, the parking lot made it just a lot easier for customers to come into our store, and also enabled all of the buildings on Washington Street. If you take a look off the parking lot, all of those businesses have fixed up their rear entrances, and part of that parking lot expansion, we ended up selling the last 20 feet of our buildings to the city so it could square off their parking lot and get an extra row of parking in. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have that common brick that goes from one part of our building all the way to the other. And so we ended up adding a little bit of structure to the company, like where our checkout is. That's a brand new 20 by 40 building that ended up making it so the building went right straight across from Ball Street all the way to our garden center. So that happened in 92. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, that's when I believe I'm thinking that was when Myers opened up. Mm-hmm. And, there's been just a lot of stores that have opened up that we've had to put our big boy hats on and try to figure ways to maneuver and just be able to not, you're never going to beat big box stores. You're never going to, they're not going to, they probably don't even know what Gilbert's is. I mean, but it's one thing to lose business and go out of business because of big box stores, and another to thrive and expand your business, which very fortunately we've been able to do. Again, great staff, great customers. So, and that kind of just continued to happen in the early 90s. We joined a buying group in 92 was a big, 92, 93 were big years, right? Mm-hmm. 92, I think we joined a buying group called Brand Source, Associated Volume Buyers, and all of a sudden the playing field was really equalized for me in electronics and appliances. Mm-hmm. I'm part of a buying group. I've got advantages, and I'm able to compete. And we've seen what I've been able to do with more of a level playing field. We're just able to grow our business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy about that. And then things just, we just kind of had the decades just continued to morph, didn't they? And all of a sudden, we're into the 2000s, and we look to expand. My brother's really looking to retire, Casey. But by the way, I told you 92 and 93 were big. Well, my parents retired in 93. So we began the process, my brother and I, of buying my folks out of their 50% of the store. And that was something. That was a big thing for my brother and I to become sole partners in the business and let mom and dad really enjoy retirement, which they did. We still saw them when they went. They were snowbirds. They'd come back about April or May, early May, and then we'd see them at the store, and they'd want to help out. And God bless them, they were always fun to be around.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I'm going to mention. I've been very fortunate in my 60 years to been able to work, with my parents, been able to work with my wife, been able to work with my brother being a partner, my parents being a partner, my wife being my life partner, and through me, an owner in the store. And now I have all of my daughters have worked at the store, and I've had a nephew work here. I've had a former brother-in-law work here. I've had so many great people that have worked for me that were family, and now I have my daughter Kate as one of the owners. So I've just been blessed. I just can't. How many people have a chance to have that kind of connectiveness with their family, where you were seeing them every day, and I just feel blessed for that. Very, very lucky. And I think the dynamics of it all kind of helped with the growth of our company. So I just wanted to mention that. And then, the staff that we have had over the years has been pretty incredible. I mean, when you go from a 20-foot Western Auto store and you start expanding, you're expanding beyond the means of what just owners can accomplish. You have to rely on other staff and managers to be able to keep your sanity, number one, and number two, just to get all the work done and take care of customers properly. And we've just had some tremendous people. I just can't I can't say enough about that. So
That was wonderful, Bill. And, there's been so much that has been brought into Gilbert's over the years, the expansions that we've done. What are some of the products or departments that Gilbert's has added over the years or even recently that you're proud of?
well, I'm gonna just say that I really believe that our tool department is really an outstanding tool department. I mean, we have all the name brands. We have a great selection. We have very, very competitive pricing. We're in the process of coming up with a true contractor program that's going to really be a win-win for contractors and for Gilbert's, and the service we can provide, the selection we can provide throughout the whole store. And it's not a big parking lot. It's not impersonal service. You really get Gilbert's. Just a quick story about Gilbert's. Our business grew with the Argus Press and WOAP. And I can remember a particular ad that I had on WOAP, and it was something that my dad said to me, and it was basically went like this. It doesn't matter at Gilbert's whether you're looking for a nut or a bolt, a lawnmower, or a TV set, you're going to get the same personal service. And you know something? That's important. And that's what we're going to be offering contractors. That's what we offer every customer that comes in. You know, we give them our attention, we give them our advice, and we give them service because we feel that's something that we can offer in a superior manner compared to maybe what other people try to do. But in terms of departments that are really great, like I mentioned, tools, we don't sell big outdoor power products, but I'm thinking like, you know, tractors, riding mowers, but all the stuff beyond that, like steel. We are truly a steel dealer that has been growing and expanding their offerings. Right now, if you come into our garden center, it looks like $1 million, along with all the other outdoor power products that we have with DeWalt, with Greenworks, with Milwaukee. We have it all. And we've got a complete department there, huge grill department. Our garden center, I'm very, very proud of. We took basically a parking lot that wasn't really being used a lot, and we've made it a viable option for shoppers in downtown Owosso. So I'm very happy about that.
And that was from the expansion.
That was from the expansion. That also gave us a great plumbing department. I mean, people that go into our plumbing department, it's bright, it's got all of this product, it looks good, it's easy to shop, and there's people to help you. There's actually staff that can help you find your stuff. Mm-hmm. And we've just expanded all of those core hardware departments that I really believe are important. And you know, and I would be so remiss if I didn't say that Scratch and Dent is a department that I am very proud of. You know, we started small with Scratch and Dent probably 5-10 years ago, just occasionally getting product through another brand source member. And we would have a little bit of it, put it in the back really basement that was storage. And we take people in there and show them the Scratch and Dent. And we knew that it was something that we could expand. And, you know, it's now become just a separate store for us. We have a separate store over in the old Reeves Wheel Alignment building. It's now the Gilbert's Scratch and Dent store, along with our service department. Mm-hmm. We have 3 full-time appliance repair techs, and our warehouse manager oversees about 8,000 square feet of warehouse space.
We probably have close to 800 appliances.
Sure. Yep.
In that warehouse.
Because we believe that if we have it in stock, we can deliver it right away, and we want what you want, or we want to have the appliance you want right away, and so we stock it. We do have to order product naturally because there's so many brands. You know, we carry every major brand of appliance, it seems, and you know, it's hard to have everything, but we do have most of the best-selling products from all of the major vendors. You know, a real big help during these last 5 years, 6 years, was when we decided that we needed an outside warehouse for special buys on appliances. And so we had a place for a couple years on South Delaney. Maybe not a lot of customers realize that, but we had a place that we shared a warehouse, shared the warehouse with. about 5,000 square feet in a loading dock, and it really allowed us to buy in bulk, and which we did, and it really helped start our volume. And then then it became apparent that we um, that that the idea of a warehouse um, was important, and we were trying to find a way that we could own our own warehouse, maybe get it a little bit closer. And boy, I tell you what, two longtime uh, business associates and friends kind of came together, and by that I mean all through the years, Reeves Wheel Alignment was just a big uh, business in downtown Owosso. Clay Reeves served on almost every downtown organization, and his son Jeff did the same thing. And that family was just real pro Owosso, and we were good customers of their tire store. They were good customers at our store, and one thing led to another, and I found out that the Reeves boys wanted to retire, Jeff and Glenn, and we're looking at maybe selling their business and their building. And boy, I tell you what, we just got together, really exacted out a fair price for them and for us, and we were able to buy their building, and just became a win-win, which is what you really want in life. You always want a win-win. And I tell you what, there's not a time I don't go out the back door and I look across and I see our building over there, and I say, wow, what a godsend for us. And it truly has been. Our scratch and dent business, we deal direct with vendors on scratch and dent, with GE, with Electrolux. We'll probably be bringing in other brands like LG and Whirlpool in the very short future. But I mean, scratch and dent has just been wonderful, and so that's a department that really stands out for me. Going back in history, you know, we sold bikes. I'm sure many old time customers remember Western Flyer bikes, and then through the years we had other bikes like Vista, Volkscycle. I mean, just a lot of different uh, uh, bikes, and we sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Bikes were a big department for us. Toys were a big department for us. Trimetry is still a department for us, and it's had its up and downs in terms of how big it is, but it's getting a little bit more of of let's just say we're going to feature it a little bit more this fall season. But you know, I think one of the magic things that have happened in our store is that we've been able to find departments, and we've moved this way and that way, and been able to, just been able to morph into things that our customers want and need. Just a couple months ago, this bright gentleman here sent out a survey, and some of the survey results came in, and they are affecting change. We've expanded our hours so that we're open later. And some of the other things that that are going to be driven from survey results from you, our customers. So I feel very humbled by the fact that I've been able to be part of this for 60 years. It's provided a great living for myself, for my family. Was able to provide a retirement for my mother and father. My brothers retired, and I just feel very good about that. And
And it's really all thanks to, one group in particular, and that's our customers. How has the Owosso community supported Gilbert's through the years, through the decades?
oh, they have been tremendous. I mean, um, we have a grand opening for every grand opening that we've ever had. I can remember in 1973, we had a grand opening. We sold 100 bikes one day. One day, all the bikes were, I think, like $66. Took out a full page in the Argus Press. We sold 100 bikes. It was unbelievable. We had friends of my parents from Lansing came over and helped set up bikes in the back room, and
Building them as fast as you're
we
selling
were
them.
building them as fast as we could sell them. But every sale that I can remember a preferred customer sale. One of the first ones we did in the 80s, in the early 80s, we had people lined up at Christmas time, like in November, like the November 6th or something like that. They were lined up, papered the doors. They were lined up all the way down the block. I mean, just wonderful. And you're talking 40 years ago, 40 plus years ago, and everything we've ever done. We had a sale last June 1st, and was the biggest day in the history in our hardware store. It was just unbelievable, and customers have just really, they've. I think they want to do. I think they want to do business with us, and we just can't. We can't never stop understanding that we have to provide the very best service, the best product at the lowest possible prices. And then I think customers will always be with us.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I had people talk to me about when I was doing the remodeling and in 2021 and putting the garden center up, and then it kind of morphed into 22 before we were really done. They were saying, "Oh, we're so glad that you're doing well and you're not going out of business." And I said, "What made you think we were going out of business?" But I mean, you wouldn't believe the number of people that told me, "I'm glad you're here. You're not going out of business. It's just great." And I understand that that a lot of companies have come and gone, and we're here. We want to be here forever for you. And with the current ownership that I have coming in along with me, this is primed to go another 60 years, I hope.
Same.
So, yeah.
60 years past and another 60 more. I mean,
right.
when you look at this community for the past 60 years, and you touched on a little bit, what the boards that you've been a part of, the chairs that you've been, especially to promote downtown Owosso. I mean, what's been the most rewarding part about being a part of this community?
Well, I'll be honest, I really, really love my association with the YMCA. It has nothing to do business-wise as far as what, as far as that goes, not like the DDA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the DDA district and I've been on that board and still service the board. I'm currently the chair, but my point is that I am really, really, really just love the YMCA. It's my organization. I think they do just so much good in this town. And right now we're in a capital campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody that's looking at this and hearing this, boy, I tell you what, we're close, but we're right in the final stages. If you could feel it in your heart to give to the YMCA's Capital Drive, that would be great. But I've had a lot of committees that I've been on. I was almost the unofficial waterer of all the flowers about 15 years ago. But I probably was on the watering truck, I don't know, probably 30, 40 times at 4 a.m, watering all the flower beds. But I mean, hey, it was great. how many customers stopped me when I was doing it on a weekend or when my time sometimes bled over to 8 or 9 o'clock. They just loved it. They loved it. And of course, it was something that I really liked back when we had all those flowers. But
I mean, looking ahead, I mean, we've been through 60 years already. What do you hope for the future of Gilbert's?
well, we're committed to downtown. I mean, there's the only thing we can really do in this building is really move things around, and by adding things, we're eliminating things or shrinking things because we've got this footprint, and this footprint can't change. Okay, so we could look at expansion into other areas with the talented ownership staff. That might be something that we really look at. That's really something for these young people to consider doing. And
I'm just trying to get advice right now.
I'm always for trying new things. I mean, that's the magic of, and I'm sure that everybody looking at this probably remembers my brother Casey, a partner. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. And you probably couldn't have asked for two as different partners as Casey and I were. And that was the magic, because he was really good at controlling stuff, really good at just the behind the scenes organizational stuff, and was probably more of a realist pessimist, if you will. And I was like, oh yeah, we can do this. We can do this. I was always the optimist. And so we did bang a little bit and have our arguments. Every day, though, we'd go out to lunch and brush those arguments aside and just, talk business, talk sports. So I just feel blessed that I had a partner like my brother who could kind of corral me, and I could kind of open him up. So the two of us kind of, I think, worked pretty good together. And I hope that was obvious to customers out there and staff. And I awfully proud of the family I've been involved in with the store.
And as we wrap up here, I mean, is there any message that you'd like to share with customers who have been a part of this journey and really to the community?
One of the sad things that happens as you get older, like I have, I'm just a couple days away from turning 71, and I can remember being the young little boy, 11 years old in 1965, and is that a lot of great customers that you've known through the years have passed away. And it's kind of sad when I see a great customer and all of a sudden, not going to see them again. And that's kind of sad, and it kind of hits you in a different way than when a close friend passes away. Because what you do is you remember all the, as an owner, I remember a lot of the interactions that I've had with customers through the years. They're just as clear as a bright blue sky. And so that's kind of a sad note for me over the 60 years, but yet I'm able to see a lot of new young customers that, are probably in 20 years going to say, remember that old fart down at Gilbert's? He was a pretty nice guy, Dad. But, that's just the circle of life that goes on. It's a circle of life. And I've been blessed. Again, I've said that many times. We're gonna work hard to make sure that our customers know that they are the single most important thing that we have going on in this town and in our in our circle. We have to take care and ensure satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking forward to the next 5 years. I think we've got some things brewing that might surprise people, and I think that there's always something to look forward to in business, and I hope that you look forward to coming into our store and seeing what we have to offer, because I think we're just scratching the surface of what we can be and become. So I want to thank you for listening to me. I know I might have been rambling on a little bit, but I really have enjoyed this.
I really appreciate you sitting down with me and talking about the history of Gilbert's, and it's been really great for me to learn about the history, so as the new ownership group goes into the next 60 years, we can apply all that has happened in the past to the future and really keep Gilbert's what Gilbert's is,
Mm-hmm.
and that is customer focused and customer service focused, and we're really excited to do that for the next 60 and more, until the next generation comes, and then hopefully the next generation after that comes as we look forward to it. But we appreciate you watching this or listening to this, and we thank you, our customers, for supporting us through the 60 years.
You bet.
And something really, really exciting is our sale on May 31st to celebrate our 60-year anniversary. That's May 31st. We're having a 20% off bucket sale. Anything that you can fit in this giant 5-gallon bucket, which you get for free as well. You take that home with you, that you can fit in there.
20% off.
20% off.
Yep.
And anything you can't fit in that bucket, whether it's a lawnmower, a grill, steel items, anything that can't fit in that bucket, you get 10% off.
A lot of stores, without mentioning names, will have exclusions on the type of stuff you can throw in the bucket. And some of the name brands like a DeWalt or a Milwaukee or things like that, they're excluded from these offers. We're not excluding anything. We are only saying that the only exclusion is if you pick a clearance item that has far more of a discount than 20%, you're going to get that discounted price. But we're simply not going to exclude anything because we want to make it easy for you.
If you want to come in and buy a ton of Milwaukee tools, save some really good money, you can do that. Plus lawn and garden supplies, plumbing, really, really anything you need.
Anything.
And it expands into the appliance store, because that's for the hardware store. And the appliance stores, we're extending our Memorial Day pricing. You get free local delivery and installation on any in-stock appliance. And then if you don't want delivery and installation and you want to pick it up yourself, we'll pay your sales tax on any appliance that you wish to pick up. Plus thousands of dollars in giveaway items, food. We're going to have representative here from a lot of major brands. It's going to be a really fun time.
It's going to be fun. If you happen to be here last June 1st when we had a similar sale, but not quite as good because it wasn't our 60th, you kind of know what we try to do here, and we try to make it a special day for you. So it will be. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we appreciate you watching this video or listening to us, and thank you to Bill for sticking here with me and going through this interview. And we'll see you in the store soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks.